Hey everyone, welcome back to HeadUcation. Myself and James Atkinson, the Life of Hair. He will be joining us very, very soon. But what I'm going to talk you through is we're back. We're bringing you this HeadUcation monthly live education powered by Joico. And what we're going to be doing today is James is going to be doing a live color technique and bringing you something that you can use in salon, get you ready for Christmas and use on your clients and adapt to however you feel it will work best in your business. So James is just prepping at the minute, his mannequin. So he's going to be joining us very, very soon. So if you are watching, jump in the comments. I'll bring them up and we can have a little catch up as to how everybody has been. I'll tell you what's been happening in the world of HeadUcation. James will fill you in, no doubt, on what he's been up to as well. And with Joico. So Joico, there's loads happening. Loads has happened this year and it's been a super busy year. So I've got a video as well that I want to show you of something that myself and Ian Davies did last week on our live for Joico Europe. And it was a Be Beautiful Youthful with the emphasis on being you. If you joined it, let me know in the comments if you watched it. If not, I'll be bringing you the video very, very soon just to show you a little bit behind the scenes of what we got up to and to bring you something a little bit different. But today, if you are new to HeadUcation, this is an online education platform. We're using YouTube to bring you education that you can use in salon, on your clients. And it's just something that myself and James both work with. We both work with these techniques and trends and the way that we come up with them and the way that it helps develop our businesses. So this is what we just want to basically bring to you. But I can see there's a load of you in the watching, so in the comments let me know where you're watching from. I always like to start these live streams, whether it's on here, on Instagram, TikTok or anything like that, and find out where everybody is watching from. So if you jump in the comments and just let me know where you are watching from, I'd love to know. I'm in the UK, in the middle of the UK, the Midlands. I'm in Kettering and I'm in my studio that brings all of my YouTube videos, most of my YouTube videos. But I had a flood. So I had a flood when we had loads of rain recently and it knocked out all my lighting, laptops. They weren't on the floor. It was all like the transformers that just completely got obliterated by the water. So I've just been redecorating, redoing it all, and it's getting there. The studio is getting there. Everything in front of me now, I can literally come here, turn it on, and we're ready to go. So that's how I wanted to bring my studio and get it all ready. So I can literally, if there is a trend or something that you guys want to see, I can literally jump here, jump on the white screen behind and bring you bang on the minute education. So while we are just waiting, I'm going to bring up the video that we did last week, and hopefully also I'm going to be live tonight as well at 6 o'clock. I do a live every Monday at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. UK time, and then an hour ahead in Europe, and then in America if you're where it's like 10, 12 and 1 wherever you are in America. I know it's a big place. But let's bring you this video of what myself and Ian did last week, and I'll explain a little bit of what we've got coming up. So that was the video. I'm not sure if you can see me at the minute because my screen has gone blank, but if you can, I'm still here. And let's just drop that out. I don't think you can. Yes, we're back. 1 second. It is a technical. It'll be coming back any minute. If you can still hear me, let me know in the comments because this screen has just froze. Can't seem to do anything with this window. I'm just going to jump on my phone just to see if I can see what is happening. See if you can still see me. Yeah, I think you can still see me. Let me know in the comments if you can. Hello, we're back. Sorry, for some reason the screen completely froze. So I'm just going to bring up what we're going to be talking about today. So here we go, HeadUcation live hairdressing education with myself. I'm going to be doing the comparing, but actually talking to you guys through it all. And the life of hair, James Atkinson, he's going to be doing a color technique for you on a mannequin and just showing you a really easy technique with a color to bring to you that you can use in salon, like I said. So the main premise of HeadUcation was developed during lockdown, where myself and James Atkinson, we got together and we started putting out education every single week. And it was like 9 o'clock on a Wednesday evening. And it ran into like 11 o'clock at night. And it was just something, because we had nothing really to do during lockdown, that we developed this. And we wanted, well, I was using Joyco and we wanted to bring this to you with a brand that we love and support. So that was a no-brainer, to be honest. And then it progressed over the time where we could do more and more. And then when the salons reopened, it just got to a point where we were doing so much online education, we were working the businesses and everything like that, that we really needed to work out a plan of how to bring this to you more effectively. And what we discussed was we'd bring you this once a month where we could just bring you color, just color education. There would be haircuts involved, but the haircuts that we would do would be sort of like a pre-recorded video that we would do after, and then we could play that as a video which supported the live. So if you wanted to see the color technique live, ask us all about it. And then if you wanted to see the whole thing come together as a haircut as well, that was going to be a video that we were going to bring after. So that is our plan going forward with Education and bringing you this education live. So I'm just going to talk you through. I just showed a video of something that myself and Ian Davies did last week, and it is the U-Flock range from Lumishine, which is the Joico grey coverage range, along with Age Defy. So what was that noise? And it is all about just where we have those clients who I think we take for granted. If you let me know in the comments if you did see our live last week, it was a closed group, so it wasn't online or anything like that, which is why I want to talk to you a little bit about it, because it was something that we want to develop. We want to bring you sort of like season 2 of it, and we're thinking about bringing you something which can be working with demi colors and grey hair, because I don't think people utilize demi colors and grey hair enough when it comes to just blending or enhancing. So if somebody is grey, I mean, the person that you think instantly on telly was like Philip Schofield, where he had this really sort of ice white grey hair, and people always said, "How's his hair so sort of like clean? Why isn't there any of those darker pieces? Why is no yellow creeping in?" And it's because it's like coloured with a demi colour, toned out, and at some point on the transition, it could have been highlighted to take out those darker pieces and then toned to bring you a more seamless result. So that's a course that we want to be doing as well with Joico. But with what I was doing couple of weeks ago, I was in Hungary and we did a show for Joico Hungary, Joico Europe, and what we wanted to bring to the guys there were like express color techniques, balayage, vivids as well. So color intensities are something that have blown up over the past 5 years, I would say. And when it comes to working with vivid colors, a lot of people just think. I mean, I did one on Saturday where it was like cyberpunk, and it was a green, a UV green, a cobalt blue, and a deep purple. And people think that we have to use intensities that way, like bring in like a full coverage. But then when we were doing these shows, we were adding like little aspects of it to people. So these were little things that we could either, when clients wanted a little bit of like excitement in their hair, or they wanted something a little bit different, but they didn't want to go too crazy. They didn't want blonde, they didn't want coppers, they didn't want anything like that. So on one of the models, what I did was I just pre-lightened through the front, and she was a level 4 to begin with. So we had a lot of lifting to do. And then inspiration-wise was petrol. So you know where you spill petrol on the floor and then water, and it sort of goes into like a bit of a rainbow. So in her fringe, I used what was it? Magenta, a blue, a green, and a purple, and just created this sort of petrol effect in her fringe. Really classic bob, blunt fringe, but in that fringe was this sort of petrol color, and that was something which was again inspired by just walking, and then you just see these little things day to day life. And I seen it on the floor, and I thought that would be unreal just to add a little aspect of that into somebody's hair. And that was that. And then myself and Ian Davies were in the Netherlands. What was it? 3 weeks ago now, 4 weeks ago now, and we did a show for the distributors UK and Ireland for Joico Europe. And one of the models we wanted again to show vivid in intensities, Joico intensities, and I was inspired by like mojito mint. So creating like a mint color out of the intensities. I've got it all on Insta, so you can see it, all the formulation, everything. But just creating, and on YouTube actually, I think there's a video on there to show you the breakdown. It was, rather than going full green or full blue or full purple or full pink, just a little panel through here, something underneath through here, and we turned it to a mojito mint. And that was a real sort of, that was really understated when it came to thinking that that would just be something which would just add a little bit of like, oh, like that looks cool. But I think that was the showstopper as such. People wanted these sort of slow motion videos when she was like moving, the mint sort of come from underneath and in her fringe. And I was thinking like the balayages, or we did this beautiful wolf cut copper. And talking about what we did with these looks, we're starting to like really brand them. So when you look at going back over your clients' notes, or you're doing shows yourself and you're thinking of these color techniques, what could we call them to add a little bit of like a hashtag, I suppose, to it? Could we like it. Well, the red wolf cut that we did, we used the red coppers and the red reds, and we called that Little Red Riding Hood. And the reason for that, obviously the Red Riding Hood, but the wolf, the wolf that was in Little Red Riding Hood, and it was a wolf cut. And like me and Ian Davies were Emrys, keep forgetting that surname. We were creating those sorts of looks, and we were branding every single one of them. And then one of the tasks the next day, was it next day or was it later that day? No, later that day, all the distributors had to recreate a look of their own using style and finish range. And that's another big thing with Joico. Our style and finish range is quite condensed, but there's so much intermixing and cocktailing and layering that you can do with it to create these different products and different looks. But what was really cool was that they really took it on board, and they started to like brand themselves. So they did like a little PowerPoint, and on it with the look that they created. One of the funny ones was that one of the lads had short hair, and they made it like really messy and textured, and they called it like hangover, which I thought was really cool and funny, because just those sorts of things. If you can start to brand your hair looks, your colors, your cutting techniques, it will start to, like the wolf cut and the butterfly cut. All these things are just created by how that silhouette sort of looks, or how the technique is created, or the color looks, and you are starting to create this look from, or this branding through doing this. And I think the way that social media is going, the way that keywords are going online, if you were to do it on YouTube, and in the title, obviously wolf cut is massive, butterfly cut is massive. But if you could create that movement yourself of something like, if you were to call it like the hangover haircut, or that's just like loads of texture, or mojito, these things that are just so easy for clients to really resonate with, and to understand the final result. Because if you are talking about a mojito, everybody knows that it's sort of really sort of crystallized mint color. It's not a real deep green. It's quite light in tone, and that's something that we're really working on when it comes to branding and creating these colors. So for next year, I've got a lot of stuff planned with HeadUcation, with Joico, and with my own stuff, that I really want to start to develop these little branding areas where we can create these looks, and we can put out like a little lookbook of that, or a little collection. So yeah, these are all things that are definitely coming next year. But James will not be too much longer. I've just seen a text come in. He is still working and on his mannequin. But yeah, so HeadUcation, if you guys let me know in the comments, live or after this video has gone live, what would you like to see from us going forward when it comes to haircuts, colors, techniques, Q&As, education in general? Would you like to see like more face-to-face? Would you like to see more lives? Is once a month enough, or would you like to see education more often? Would you like to see it on models? Would you like to see it on mannequins broken down like that? Or would you prefer sort of something to have a bit of a workbook with it? So if we were to do a technique, I'm just currently redecorating all of this. Like I said at the beginning, I had a flood in here, and it knocked out lighting, cameras, laptops, everything. So I'm just getting back to having my studio how I want it. I've been working upstairs in the salon doing videos for a little while. So I just repainted all this yesterday. And here, let me just, where are they? Here. So I've got a black magnet coming just there, because what I want to do are these. So these are magnetic heads, and I want to have it here. So when I'm doing a live on this white wall here, I can then jump to a camera here, and I can break down all of the sectioning patterns. So when it comes to placement through here, these will all be all on this wall, just there. So being able to bring much more to my videos and my lives. So if we can schedule lives and have them scheduled for ages in advance, that's what I really want to do. I want to have, basically from January, I want to have all my lives scheduled for the year. There'll obviously be some like dipping in and out of there. I want to have them all scheduled throughout the year, so I know exactly what we're going to be doing, exactly what you guys want to watch, and then my sectioning patterns, my placement will be here. This camera can pick all that up, or that camera just there, and then another camera there, and then we've got a camera which is above us, and then that will drop down and be able to see the sectioning patterns on top. Um, so yeah, I want to literally level up. Now that I'm getting my studio all sorted and basically redone, I want to be able to bring you education, like, which is bang on every single week. So whether it be education, whether it be for Joico, whether it be for Alpha Italia, whether it be for my thing that I do on a Monday night, which is like hair TV. And the reason I wanted to do that, I wanted to engage with everybody a little bit more. I wanted to be able to chat a little bit more with everybody, and like more of like a sit down sort of chat show, talk show sort of thing, where we can bring guests on if we want to, or I'm doing a bit more regimented in the sense of what we're doing, trends. We're doing some hair hacks. There will be bits where I'll probably get a mannequin and I'll probably work on it a little bit, but I wanted it basically just to be a bit more of like a catch up and being able to engage with you a little bit more, because I felt that it's just been pumping video, video, video. And now I'm working a lot on YouTube shorts, trying to get those sort of going. But that's also another thing. So back in, I can't remember how long ago it was, September maybe, I went to, maybe August, I went to Ian's salon in Cardiff, and we did like a social media. I did, was it 3 mannequins, 4 mannequins? Really quick express blonding techniques of how to create these looks. Then in the afternoon, I did a like a just on phone CapCut, how to film. So throughout the day, I was asking them to film bits, and then when it comes to the end of the day or towards the end of the day, I would be showing them how to edit it, what I use to edit, and that sort of thing. So I think that'll be a big thing as well when it comes to influencing online education. Will be that we'll be able to create more content and help you guys create more content. But going on with that, with live streams and everything, Joico Europe have just invested in this whole setup for the Netherlands. So when we're over there in the Netherlands, we're going to have like this. So it won't be a case of if we're over there we can't do a live stream. I think what we're going to be doing is just we're going to be doing more, and I think those guys, the team over there, are going to be doing more. I think we're going to be getting a lot more education from Joico live, and also pre-recorded. They're going to have a studio made over there with all lighting, everything. So I'm really excited to go and see that. That's all going through at the minute. But let's get. I'm going to put a comment in actually, because for people, everyone who's joining, let's see where they're all from. There we go. Let's bring that up there. Let's even get everybody watching. So James, let's see how long he's going to be, because we want to get this education started. You don't just want to hear me talking all day, do you? Because I want to see this color technique as well. He said it's something that he uses in salon quite often to create these little techniques. I've seen his videos on YouTube at the minute. He did a balayage, which is like the new T section. And I think when we're using terminology like that, T sections, half head highlights, full head highlights. I know one of my girls, Stacey, the other day, this lady booked in for a full head foils. And I loved the way that she sort of consulted in saying, oh yeah, like a full head foils is just the name. It's basically like you're going to get a full head coverage, but it's not traditionally, because the lady didn't really know what she wanted. So she was going to get a full head look application, but it wasn't just going to be your generic full head, like up there, through there, through there. And I think that's what's changing a lot at the minute as well. I think when it comes to working with clients and working with traditional services, pricing and things like that, like on the menus, I used to when we first opened, and I wish I never took it off, but I was advised to take it off because it was confusing. And now I think, was I just like ahead of the time? I had a price on my price list, obviously like colors, roots, foils, stuff like that. But then I had the trend, and the trend was price on consultation. And what that created was people wanted the trend, but there was numerous ways in creating it on that individual. We didn't want to do one generic thing on everybody. We wanted to create the trend on somebody. And I'm going to bring it back. I'm talking about this now. I'm going to bring that back onto our menu because the trend, whether it be foliage, balayage, ombre, baby lights, highlights, full head cover, color placement, but all these aspects into one look. I think that's what we do now. I think when we're working on clients, I think we work with all these different techniques, placements, formulations, and everything to create these different looks. And it's it's not so much where we're pricing it now just for. There's a lot of salons that do it by the hour, but I think a lot of clients, they want to know what they're being charged. And if it's like, oh god, it's going to run into 2 hours because your hair hasn't lifted, it's like I think we need to start looking at those as like color corrections. And I know everything we're doing at the minute is a color correction, but I think what we need to do is we need to be consulting in a way that we can. The client knows what they're charging because obviously money at the minute is very very tight for everybody. But when it comes to people booking in for full head highlights, but then turning up with existing color, they're wanting this look, which isn't necessarily full head highlights, that's more balayage. So working that way through a consultation, but working that way on a price list. So when people phone up and say, "Oh, I've just seen this trend that's popping right now," and you say that you do the trend on your price list, like what is that? I think that'd be quite a nice way to actually say, oh, if you want to come in, because like different trends suit different people. There's different levels and different colors that will be able to complement you better. So I think that would be something that's quite nice. So I think I'm going to bring that back onto our price list. But just touching on it, James said he'll be here in about 3 minutes time. So let's just refresh on what we're going to do this afternoon. James Atkinson is going to be doing a color technique on a mannequin for us live, talking us through his placement, his technique, why he uses it. He uses it in salon. Why does he use it in salon? What different clients does he use it on? Because when it comes to working with these different color techniques and placements, it's to achieve these different looks. And I was just saying about he classes this new color technique that he did on one of his videos recently as the new T section. And people still book in for T sections. I can't call it T junctions, partial foils. And if we can start to adapt these looks in creating full head colors, but with less work for ourselves, it's still full coverage. And one thing when it comes to when we're working with full head coverage and color, when we tone, that's a full head color. That's toning the full head as well. So you're getting all of that reconstructing properties, the neutralizing, the positive tone over all of it. So when it comes to, yes, it's just a toner. It's not just a toner. It's working with everything. And when you're just toning, what seems to creep in with toning now is a root shadow, a root tap, a root melt, and then we'll tone. So all of these things that we need to be really looking at and pricing at. And I think work going forward when it comes to new pricing next year, as I'm sure a lot of salons will be looking at their pricing structure next year with what's going on, I think that we need to adapt. We don't want to make it overcomplicated, but we need to make it work for both parties. And I think that's going to be something where we can use these express techniques. Not express, I hate using the word express. I just passed a Costa Express on the way here, and I was thinking, what other word could we use for express? Like I know Joico have got quick toners, but do you want it to sound like if we were doing like a foil, a quick foil? There was one I was thinking like a little while ago. It's called like Busy Blonde, um, where it's someone who is blonde and they're just super busy. They have their lunch hour to get blonde, toned, and finished within that hour. I was thinking stuff like that. So I'm constantly thinking of different ways that we can develop our price lists and develop our structures in services to start creating quicker services for clients. And I see a lot of people saying, oh, they take about 3 hours to foil hair and stuff. And foiling, if like I feel stuff like that is where that's just obviously not a generic full head foils. That's something whether it could be like color correction or it could be because they've got banding, we need to break that down, or we're looking at creating loads of dimension, but we're going back to back. But then with that back to back, we don't want it to be solid. So we're putting in a root melt, root tap, or we're putting in some negative space at that base and we're toning. So there's so much that goes into that. And if there's ways that in which we can use quicker express coloring techniques, I think that would be something which will be really, really beneficial for salon stylists and owners going forward. Because obviously with Joico, we've got Lumi 10. And if you don't know about Lumi 10 is a 10-minute permanent color with 2 levels of lift. Still got the amazing technology of smart release in there, which has got an added boost of arginine to strengthen the hair as well. But 10 minutes gray coverage, 2 levels of lift if we need it, and the 10NN, no, 10N is unbelievable. And when I say unbelievable, 100% white, 100% coverage in 10 minutes, and it's still a level 10. It's perfect. So yeah, that's something I really, really get excited about. So yeah, I think when it comes to using these colors and understanding them, I definitely think there still needs to be a lot of understanding using them and how to use them and not to go too dark if we're assessing the level and natural base of a client, whether it be that they are a level 6, they're normally a 6N, say, and they're getting their roots done. It's not a case of just putting a 6N Lumi 10 on, because if they're 100% white, then go for it. But if they're not, then it's a case of really assessing how much gray is in there that we need to cover, but how much actual like natural base is in there that's going to take that a little bit deeper, or how much do we need to lift? And I know we've got 2 levels of lift, but when it comes to working with those 2 coincide, we need to really understand Lumi 10 as a whole. So that's something I might do a video on that actually. I will do a video on that, just something I'll do. That's what I'm thinking. I will do some little snippets of like how I use them in the salon. Lumi 10, how I use my toners, how I use my permanent colors, and everything like that. So I've just got these little reference videos. Probably keep them like unlisted, but if somebody wanted them, I could send people the link if they wanted to watch it or understand it a little bit more. But yeah, let's see where James Atkinson is, because I've been talking non-stop for half an hour over, and let's see where he is, because he's going to be doing a color technique like I've said. Let's get him up on here. But in the comments, if you're watching this after this goes live, let me know um, if you'd like me to create these videos of specifics of within the Joico brand of how I use them in salon to get the best results. Here we go. I've just sent him a message. So let's see if he replies, and let's see if he comes on, or else, yeah. But we need to arrange more lives going forward. And then my next live, I mean, I've got a live at 2 o'clock today. I've got a live at 6 o'clock tonight. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of lives, and this is something that I really enjoy doing, and I really want to do more of them to engage with like the subscribers and everything like that. And I use the sort of the community tab quite a lot as well to get what you guys are after. And a lot of it is haircuts. A lot of people love seeing these transformation haircuts, but I would love to do more transformative colors. So I'll probably put that on the. I'm gonna write that on the list now, and I'll put that on the community tab as to what transformative colors, or what do you struggle with in salon? Because if you're struggling with techniques and that in salon, or you're struggling with how slow you are at foiling, or you're struggling with how to get money pieces looking softer or more bold, all these little things that are something that we could definitely put together going forward. So, Mr. Atkinson, where are you, mate? But let's see if I can just play that video one more time, because it. No, I won't, because it froze everything. I'll watch back and see if we can see it. But I did have a mannequin head from last week's live. This is one thing that I want to do. So I bought some Afro mannequins. Start doing a little bit on sort of textured hair, because I don't think there's enough on it, and it's definitely coming into the curriculum as well. Within colleges, there's going to be I don't know if it's going to be what's the word, like where they have to do it. What is that word? Compulsory. I don't know if it's going to be compulsory, but it's definitely going to be something that can be either an add-on or something like that. But I think it should be compulsory that we work more on textured curly hair. Perming, I think perming as well, I think perming needs to come back as a compulsory part of MBQ, because there's so many hairdressers that don't perm or don't know how to perm. I'm lucky, I've got 3 permers in my salon, and we get a lot of people coming for perming, and it's something that isn't going away. It's something that, like, just waves, like, but people, I think there needs to be a redevelopment on it as well, where people are using, say, bigger rollers or sort of like big rollers to create beach waves. I know they don't last as long, but it's something that clients, I think, I did a couple of years ago, where they were going on holiday. They didn't really want to do too much with it, but they wanted that sort of wave. And I swear there was a product like a smoothing keratin blow dry that did that sort of thing, where it added that sort of texture to the hair. I might be wrong, but I think if we can develop something like a beach wave with perming, then I think that would be something where clients would potentially have it a bit more. And they've got a lot softer when it comes to doing it on coloured hair as well. I think adding those sort of techniques or services where we can be permanent on top of colours, bleaches. Obviously, we need to do testing to see how the hair takes it, whether it's got to be a little bit softer. But if we can start to create that sort of beachy wave, because how many clients come into the salon, and when we're saying, how would you like your hair finished, blow dried smooth, big and bouncy, how many clients say waved? Oh, can you just wave it for me? I can't really wave my hair at home. Could you imagine if we offered a service which was like a wave for 6 weeks? It would go off. It would go off. And that would be something which would be really cool to develop. But I understand what comes with it. What comes with it when you're perming hair to create those sort of looks. And Joico, David Murray, if you want to go check him out on Instagram, he does it some incredible perming techniques. And the Joico perms are so moisturizing, and they've got obviously the technology in there to maintain that hair's strength. But if there was a way that we could create a wave in the hair that would last, say, 6 weeks, like a color, it would grow out, but it would be soft. It would be really good condition. But the fundamental thing that comes with it is that when it comes to them looking after it themselves, that would be the main thing. Because obviously people would just want it, wake up and have like red carpet waves every day, and it wouldn't be that. It would be a case of maintenance, like any service in the salon. But I just think perming, people would expect to, when they leave the salon, it's like a little bit wavy, and then just to like get up the next day and be like, oh look, red carpet hair. But if there was a way that we could do that, I would be all up for that. And I think that's something that I might have a look at as well when it comes to a video idea or working on some different techniques. I think that would be something that would be pretty cool. Adding a sort of permanent wave for 6 weeks. Might be longer, might be like growing out, but if we're going to do it soft, like when we tongue hair, it's definitely going to drop quicker, because the sort of like the wind is going to be looser, it's going to be bigger. So when you've got that tight wind of your perm, and obviously the coil is tighter, so it takes longer to sort of straighten out. But if you've got that, then it's just going to get looser and looser and looser over that period of time, which is why I'm saying 6 weeks. But yeah, okay. James is. Oh, he's just here. Let's get him on.
Hello, mate.
Man. How are you?
All right. I'm James without an E today.
Yeah, James. Without an S.
Hey?
Without an S.
Without an S. Oh yeah, without the S. I didn't know which one I'd missed, but I was going full tilt. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Are you?
Yeah, happy days.
Good. Right.
Hello, everybody. Whoever's here.
Let's get straight into it. I'm going to bring you over, and you can just carry on.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So, one of the things that I thought we'd discuss today, or have a little look at, was the idea of colouring shag style haircuts, because I think a lot of people are a bit afraid of this, colouring these, because obviously all the hair comes quite forward from a pretty high point on the head. And also because it's a shaggy style, block techniques don't really work that well on them. They're not, they're worn obviously in natural fall and, with lots and lots of texture, etc. So the way that I'm going about these techniques at the moment, or shaggy haircuts in general, because I don't know about you, Paul, I'm still seeing absolutely loads and loads and loads of shag, mullet, hybrid haircuts coming in, into the salon. How about you, mate?
Loads, mate. And it's something as well where textured haircuts seemed, I suppose, something that you could hide stuff in them because there was a lot of texture and movement. Whereas now I think clients are really looking for somebody who can cut textured hair really, really well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the girls that works in my studio, all she aims at is really kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing how many people come to her just for that. The fact that she can do textured hair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right, I've sprayed a bit of the old Youth Lock in it, just, to protect the hair.
Defy damage.
Sorry, mate?
Defy damage.
Defy damage, yeah, nice one. Well done, mate. Thank you. Defy damage. Sprayed that through. Now, one of the main reasons I like using it, by the way, for everybody that's interested, is that it helps to lift the hair as well. So you get extra lift from the product. And when you're doing freehand techniques like this, it's quite often a good thing to be able to get that extra lift without needing to cover the hair, which is something that I'm finding with these particular techniques. Now, with this type of technique, what I'm doing is I'm taking diagonal forward sections and I'm just being very, very heavy going with these techniques, really, really heavy handed, nothing light, nothing soft. But what I'm really, really focused on is keeping it just on the surface, right? We're not saturating through to the ends of the section. We're just painting onto the surface. And the pink color you can see in the hair here is this technique, by the way, just so anybody that's interested that saw that pink in there and wondered what that was. This is this technique, but where I just put a pink toner over it. And I'm just putting flashes of color into the hair in a freehand way. Now, if I just tilt my camera down slightly, probably better if I do it that way, right? That you can see that it's come down to the ends and I'm just feathering over the ends, but there's nothing on the back side of these sections. So it's just a surface painting technique. Okay, and it's very, very, very quick and simple. You'll see the pink on this side where it was previously, and it's just to add texture, guys. It's for texture in the color. So you're coming in, you're surface painting, you're applying a lot of product to the hair, and you're working your way through. You're creating a point at the top, really. That's your best bet, so that it blends into a wider section through the bottom. And what I like to do as well, guys, is layer up my product. So I'll do one pass and I'll build up the product. I'll do a second pass and I'll build up the product. And I'll do a third pass. And what I'm looking for, and if I bring it in closer, what I'm looking for is like completely covered. The section that I've painted, it's only on the surface, but it's completely covered. It's like icing. It's like icing a cake. We've got the product completely covering the hair. And that is really, really important in this particular technique. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. We're only going to do a couple of little pieces like that in the bottom here. And then we just work our way up. And we're just working with the hair in complete free fall. Okay, so we've got a section now. It's 2 inches in depth. Okay, another subsection, 2 inches in depth, working our way through the hair. Taking the section, looking at where it falls, how it's living, and deciding where we're going to paint that section in accordance to how that section's falling. And the beauty of this technique is it's just so quick and easy to do, and it really lends itself to haircuts that have got wonderful texture. But you've got to go bold, you've got to go heavy-handed. And what I'll do is I'll process this technique and I'll show you guys later. I'll create a picture. Paul can share it on his community tab, and I'll share it on mine so you can see. And if you didn't see this live, you can go back and rejoin it later. But you see how heavy the application is, and it's really, really important to this particular technique to make it really, really heavy indeed. And obviously you could put, go on, my friend.
This is something I was talking just when we were waiting for you to prep. was that the salon pricing list is sort of non-existent now, because when it comes to clients, they don't really want a full head foils or a half head foils or a partial. I was talking about your Is This the New T-section video, where what we're trying to create now is I think with everything, we want to create quick, dynamic, dimensional techniques rather than the traditional fundamental color techniques that we've always used.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, how long have we been going on about lived in blonde for, you know?
Yeah.
And we're seeing it more and more and more now. You know, people are, you know, really wanting to explore that lived in blonde, you know, type of look. And you can do so much, you can create such a high impact with such a small amount of work with those techniques. You know, so from a shop floor perspective, actually genius, you know, because you can make something look really expensive, really. I mean, the video I posted yesterday, you know, technique that takes 45 minutes and completely transformed the model that I had. You know, she was, you know, she had almost half and half blonde on the ends and brown up towards her root area. And, you know, with one very, very simple technique that took 45 minutes to apply, turned her into a complete balayage. You know, and using the Blonde Life 9 levels of lift bleach means that, you know, I can get 5-6 levels of lift, you know, with a hand painting technique, you know, especially if the application of the product is nice and thick. So you might have noted this section, we've just done a V-shaped section here, 2 points of light, wide panel. And because of the section depth as well, because they're quite deep, you can be quite bold with it. You don't have to be, you know, you don't have to be too dainty, because you've got quite a gap in between the two sections anyway. And so you can be a little bit more heavy-handed and get a bit more product onto the hair, you know, and paint that extra product through. And it's really, really, I mean, honestly, it's so quick. I mean, how long have I been doing this now? And I'm halfway through the head already. And, you know, you can see the pink pieces in there. This is from when I did it previously. I'm doing it completely differently again. So the joy of it is when the client comes back, even if you do the same technique, you can just do it completely differently. Now, obviously, if you didn't want the pink in the hair anymore, you know, you could add in some depth or pre-color the hair even with a glaze all over to get rid of some of that previous color. And then you can work your way through the head, you know, after you've glazed it, you know, or even a quick tone, just to sort of get rid of some of the general blonde or whatever color you've used in the hair. And then that means that you've kind of got a new blank canvas to work with, you know, and you can start again, you know, and put new pieces in. So we're going to work with diagonal forward sections. Everything's going to travel forwards from that point. So we're going to come up, split the hair into two, put the hair into natural fall, just like that. And what we want to make, just one thing that you do want to bear in mind, is that when you put it into natural fall, obviously we don't want to put one here now, okay, where this hair will fall over and you'll have a piece that will sit. So we're going to go in the middle, like we did on the underneath sections. We're going to go straight down the center. So just like that, straight down the center, and just build up that product. So that's layer 1. You come in, you apply layer 2, and you're just making sure that it's super, super thick, like that. Super easy, quick to apply, and you can see the consistency of the product. So it's mixed on a 1 to 1.5 ratio, guys. So that's
what developer, mate?
This is with 20.
Yeah.
So we've got we'll have 30 grams of powder to 45 grams of 20 volume.
Nice.
Okay. And this is the Blonde Life set 9 levels. Okay. And again, we choose if we want more lightness around the front. We want to accentuate the shape and the texture that comes around the front of these haircuts, or maybe on this section we just want it in the middle, or whatever we want, or we want to do 2 points of light and we want one at the back here, and then we want to get one in the front, you know, to bring out that shape and texture. And just it is literally on you. You know, you can see previously I just did it in the middle, that pink section. But, you know, your call. You decide what you want to do with it and how you want it to be. And I love that about these techniques. It becomes a very, very artistic and organic process of coloring hair each and every time. And you're going chunky, guys, because these wavy, shaggy haircuts need that kind of heavy texture, color technique for them to work, for them to show up in the whole look once it's dry. You can see how heavy and cold.
You just read somebody's mind, mate. So just to bring this up, is it more fun to paint on highlights than to weave or foil them because it's more creative or artistic?
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, it's just more fun to do this,
Yeah,
and it's a different effect to highlights. Highlights in these shaggy, naturally curly techniques get lost.
Yeah, you need the boldness. You need that negative space.
You need that chunky. You need that contrast and separation within the technique to create that dimension and that movement and amplify the haircut that you've created. And I think that's really, really important to recognize. And when we are picking a technique, we're picking a technique based on how the hair is going to be worn, not just a technique that we might be used to doing or enjoy doing, or whatever the outcome of that. If you've got curly hair, if this was a curly hair client and they're just going to wear it curly, even then this works really well on curly clients, the ones that just wear their hair curly all of the time, because what you're going to create is texture and movement and contrast and separation in their curls. And my curly clients that I do this type of technique to absolutely just love the way that it just picks up on the curls. So it's not just necessarily for making coloring a shag, although I think coloring a shag is something that a lot of people find a little bit difficult. I've certainly seen a lot of kind of posts on Facebook and stuff where people have struggled with that as an ideology. And how do you color a shag, and where do you put the color? Is it hard? Because remember, if you do a traditional foiling technique, what you then tend to end up with is you tend to end up with a lot of the hair falling forward, and you don't see half of the highlights because they're covered. So you put all these highlights in the front, and then the hair falls from the back. So you've really, really got to work with natural fall. It's really important.
Yeah,
super important. So we're just going to work our way through this technique now. And, the application time is low, guys. It's really low. But you can still charge quite a lot for these techniques, because the reality is that, if you say to yourself, well, there's nobody around me doing this, there's nobody near me doing this, then when you look at the laws of commodities, if there isn't a lot of it around, that means you can charge more for it.
Yeah.
And that's the joy of being here today and spending some time with us. Is hopefully you'll pick up something that you can take, to the shop floor that nobody else is doing, that nobody else has got going on in your area yet, and you can manufacture something that's unique to your area, which is obviously always going to be a winner.
Amazing. But yeah, this is something I was talking about. It's when it comes to, like I just said about this, the traditional salon menu is a bit of a thing of the past now, and companies are now bringing out stuff to make things quicker. Quick tones, for example, Lumi 10.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's all, guys. For Lumi 10 is all I use for tints now. I don't use anything else. I don't have anything else other than Lumi 10 for covering. The only time I use permanent color, by the way, is when I'm covering white hair. But all of my clients are onto Lumi 10, every single one of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
go on.
Would you use a demi-gloss otherwise?
Use a demi-gloss otherwise. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Because then I'm just not covering grey, and I don't. I just want the least damaging option. And so I always go demi-gloss. Or Lumi 10 and nothing else.
Yeah. So Joe's just asked another question. I'll read it out to you. Are your clients more hesitant to go for you doing this kind of technique because foils were more mainstream or once the standard for lightening hair? Great question.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you do this kind of haircut on a client, you know, and they know that you're, you know, proficient at this type of thing, they don't care how you color it. In fact, to be honest, most of the people who I get in my chair, I don't think they care if I wore top hat and flippers and painted it on with my shoe, you know, because what they want is a result. They want the best version of that. And if you are 100% committed to, you know, explaining what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what it's for, and you understand it, it's, you know, using this technique because traditional foiling techniques aren't really cutting the mustard anymore because of these, you know, we need to create more texture, more movement, more vibrancy, more whatever it is that you're, you know, enhancing the hair for. People just get on board. They're like, oh, great. Yeah, I'm all in. Just quickly, before we go on, because we did a V shape below, we're definitely going to just do one in the middle here. V shape below, one in the middle. So we haven't got that stacking of V shapes on top of each other. But I think it's all about your confidence with it. You know, it's about whether you believe in yourself and the technique, and you know, and being confident to say, this is the way to get the best result for your hair. End of story. You know, and people will buy into that. Your confidence will come across. If you're thinking to yourself, I'm not 100% confident, you know, in my ability to do these techniques, or I'm not 100% confident in the result, or, you know, whatever it is, the clients will pick up on that, and they'll start to question the reality of the technique, you know, and think to themselves, well, you know, I've always had falls before. Whereas if you're completely committed to the idea and saying this is the best way to create texture and movement within your hair, then the clients are going to be like, okay, cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
And that's the facts, you know. And so it is about just being completely committed. And you know, you can only be completely committed to something when you've practiced it, you know. So whether it's getting a mannequin head, cutting a shag onto it, practicing a shag haircut, you know, and then going to a client and being 100% sure that what you're going to deliver to them is on the money, you know, you're never going to be 100% confident, and they're never going to be 100% confident in you.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Joe just said, whoa, he's reading my mind, because she said about, obviously, the confidence in our skills, and then you were already talking about that.
Yeah. It's because you're not alone, Joe. Paul and I, we spend our life teaching people. We come across the same things over and over and over and over again. You are not alone in that being the reason.
Yeah,
that is the common reason as to why people would ask that question. And the more we hear it, the more we understand, you know, the psychology behind any of these different techniques or different ways of doing things. Is because, you know, don't ever feel alone when you feel like that, because I can assure you that, you know, 90% or so of people that turn up in our classes for education, it's only because they're not 100% confident, and they want someone to guide them through the technique and show them how to get it done.
Absolutely.
So again, we're in the front, we're in the fringe area, and when we're in the fringe area, all we're going to do is paint individual lines of color, just simple individual pieces of color into the front. So we're not going to do V's or whatever. We're just going to do lines of color from the root area through to the end, just like that. Very, very simple, very straightforward and easy to do. So we just take the section and then just come in, saturate our ends, and just work our way back up to the root area. And because, guys, we're only surface painting, the hair, it doesn't make any difference how thick or chunky any of this looks. Remember, when we saw this mannequin head before I started colouring it, it had all that pink in there. It didn't look overly bold and obnoxious, and this was exactly the same technique I did for that particular application already. I've already done that to this mannequin head in exactly the same way. So we just take another piece of hair, and as we've come to the top, because we've got a fringe area, we've just swapped our tactics slightly, and we've worked from the fringe, and we're just going to go back to the crown area as we travel through. And in a minute, we're going to kind of run out of space and place to put these, but I'll show you exactly what I mean by that in just a second. But we've got to be really careful. We don't press any of this product through the section. Okay, very, very, very important indeed. We don't get product pressed through the section, and we're doing it super gently. We're just building up that product onto that section and getting that hair to lift. Okay, so now we've got the hair and it's veiling all the pieces underneath, with exception to this one, which we can see is poking through.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got to get the hair into natural fall. Remember, with all of these types of haircuts, they just fall into the position which the hair grows out of the head. So we need to be very, very, very mindful that we're mirroring that particular, natural fall position on the head. Okay, so we're going to come in, we're going to paint our lines. We're just painting lines at this point. Saturate your ends, but we're just painting lines, no V shapes, none of that business. And just build up the product onto the hair, just like that. And just get those sections heavily saturated, guys. Can you see how white they look? They look so white, where we've got maximum saturation. We've got one there. We don't want to put one here because it's too close to the one underneath. So you're just looking now to see where we want another piece. Probably want one here. I'll show you why. We've got one there, one there. Okay, can you see that? One there and one there, and we can get one in the middle. Okay, so we're going to get a piece of color just in the middle here. And then just saturate, and just paint through, straight through, just like that. Build up that product. Got to get layers of product on, guys. Layers and layers and layers. If you can see the hair underneath the section you want to paint, you haven't got enough product for it to lift. It will dry out and it will stop working, and you'll be in big trouble. And I'm going to put one into the fringe area potentially. Sometimes it's nice for it just to pop through. I think I'm just going to stick one there because I'm just working out, how I want it to kind of visually be, and so I'm just figuring out where the hair lives. Where's it going to fall? Is it going to fall there? Is it going to fall there? I think that hair might live a bit more this way. So I'm going to leave it like that, actually. I think that will be it in terms of this particular application. If we look at it from the top, we can see it's random. There's not a set pattern because we've got one underneath here coming from this side, whereas this one's more on the top. We've got this one coming from the top here, but we've got one underneath there. So we've just got to be, visually aware of where the sections are going to come from. And two, you could put more sections in the top. Depends on you. What do you want to do? What do you want it to be when you do it? So I'm going to allow that to process. I'll wash it all off and I'll probably just leave it blonde so you can see the result more visually rather than toning it down. Because remember, toning it down, let me lift that up now. Toning it down reduces the contrast between the sections and then makes it look more blended. I'd rather you guys see it in its kind of raw, untoned form so you can have a better idea, knowing that by toning it, you're going to get a much softer and more blended result anyway. That makes sense?
Beautiful. Perfect, fantastic, mate. Thank you. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you too, mate. Yeah, mate. We've got to get this thing going regular as clockwork again, I think.
I know. I was saying this at the beginning because it's just been a crazy. I mean, I was saying at the beginning, this all blossomed because of lockdown, and we had all the time in the world. Whereas now we're very, very limited with time. But yeah, I would love as of January to get the whole year just in. That'd be
that's great. That's the way to do it. We need to stick it in the diary and commit to it as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, cool. Oh,
nice,
mate.
Good stuff.
Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget, we're both on the road to 100K.
Yes.
Both on the road.
How far away are you, Paul?
I don't know, mate. Let's see. 8.5. 8.5, yeah.
I'm about 4,000.
Yeah. Not long, mate.
Not long.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, ditto. I think we'll probably hit it about the same time.
Well, mate, what a journey it will be if we do.
I think it will be exactly the same point.
Yeah. Well, it'd be amazing. It'd be absolutely amazing.
We'll have to have a 100K party, Paul.
Definitely, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Good.
All right, man.
Right. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you soon. We'll put some dates out there we'll get ourselves organised for January. We'll put some dates in the diary, and then we'll be on consistently. We're definitely going to do that 100%. We're both fully committed to that idea. So we shall see you in the new year at some point. Thank you very much for all of your support. If you follow myself, thank you very much. If you follow Paul, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us live. You don't understand how much we appreciate it. You couldn't imagine it.
Yeah, amazing. Lovely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, mate. And
cheers. Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.